Good morning, Sam. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. So let me just do a little bit of introduction. First of all, I want to say thank you for agreeing to participate in this seminar. The title of the seminar is Real Talk, Parental Alienation. He's more than just a baby daddy. And what I'm doing with this series is different from the series that I did before. The first Real Talk series involved a panel of men and then a panel of women. And that seminar, Real Talk for Women by Men and Real Talk for Men by Women, that seminar was geared towards building the communication between couples, people who were still in an intact relationship, whether they were married or just in a serious relationship. Very beneficial, very helpful. It just reconfirmed that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. But this series is taking it a different level. It's now trying to bridge that gap of communication between people who were once in a relationship, but no longer in a relationship, but they have children in common. And so it's that co-parenting relationship. And you know, and I know that once the relationship between parents end and the only connection they have is a child, sometimes emotions get in the way. And I'm going to dare say it's more women. Sometimes women can be so emotionally involved, where they're angry, hurt from the relationship ending, that they don't allow themselves to get over that enough for the children. And so what I've done is, you and several other guys that I have met throughout my 27 years, I've just handpicked you all to come in and talk about some of the issues that you all had with the parental alienation side. So I thank you for agreeing to be a brave soul to talk about this. And it's a very important subject. And I hope that once this series is out, that men will be able to understand that there are other guys who are going through similar stuff that they're going through. But more importantly, that the women will be the mothers, where if they see themselves in you guys' story, they'll be able to step back and say, oh, wait a minute, I need to change because I didn't know that guys were feeling this way. I didn't really understand what was going on the other side. So maybe I need to change my behavior. So that's the purpose. Cool?
Right. Cool.
So I see your name on the screen and everybody else will see it too, but why don't you start by just introducing yourself and talk about how many children you have and whether they're boys or girls.
Samuel Edward. I have a blended family, but it's 8 children, 4 boys and 4 girls.
Oh, wow. You've been quite busy. So I'm not going to ask you all of the ages. So tell me the oldest is how old?
The oldest is 16.
And the youngest is?
The landlord I called?
Yes, the landlord.
She is 3. She's 3 years.
Okay. So who's in charge, really?
The landlord.
The landlord. Of course she is. And she happened to be a girl.
She tells me what to do in the house and everything else. She keeps everybody on cue. She tells us when she's hungry and we have to feed her. She tells us when she's ready to play, we have to play. She brings the little around, we got to do it.
Hey, that's it. But look at what she's dealing with. She's got all these other siblings. She has to, make her way. She has to let them know early on who's the boss. Otherwise, she's just gonna get lost. There's so many of y'all. Okay, so when we're talking about parental alienation, I know that some of these, I know you and I know your family, so I know that you have children from a prior relationship. You have the youngest child is with your current wife, correct? And then your wife has a child that is not yours, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so we're going to concentrate, my questions is going to be on the children with the mother that you've had battles with. I'm going to use the word battles with. And how many children are those?
4.
4. Okay. So now, when the children were born, were you and the mother still together?
Yes.
And how long were you all together after the children were born?
We were together pretty much 10 years, I want to say.
Okay. So that's a good thing for you, because one of the other guests that I've interviewed, he didn't get to see his daughter for the first 4 years. He wasn't at the birth. He didn't get to participate in the name. So for 4 years, he never even laid eyes on his daughter. So you were blessed, and at least you had them for 10 years together. So when it ended, did you start having problems seeing your children?
Oh yes, I most definitely did. And it was a crazy way of how it ended. It was just some situations happened, and then after, it's pretty much after the divorce, that's when we part our ways, and she wanted to come back, or she wanted me to come back, and then we was having a split off moment, and I did not want to
Okay.
keep just because it was toxic
Go ahead.
relationship.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. It's with Zoom. Whenever you're on video conference, we wouldn't talk over each other. We were sitting there. But I want you to go back for a minute, because it's something that I picked up on with another interview. So you say that the breakup, was the breakup a negative breakup, or was it a mutual, we're going to go our separate ways and just co-parent?
It was a negative breakup.
Okay. And so do you think that the fact that it was negative kind of set the stage for this bad relationship with the visitation and the scheduling?
I'm going to say, in general, yes, because I was coming from when there's two parents who not getting along and they're getting into a lot of argument, it's trickling down into the children, where the children is going to see that. And so someone has to make an understanding, like, hey, we understand that we have kids, but now we're getting to the role where we have to co-parent. And so you have to step away just so the kids don't have to see the toxicity that the parents are going through, whether they're arguing or they're fighting a lot. Someone has to be able to step away and like, hey, maybe we can work on these children's behalf from the outside, because we're not doing good being together in the inside of the home.
Okay. So in your divorce, was there a set schedule where the children were with mom the majority of the time, and then they were with you or a lesser time?
Yes.
And yes, what type of issues did you have with that schedule?
The issues, because of the breakup, the issues that I was having was, now, because of the breakup and divorce happened, and she was thinking like, I needed to be there, and it just wasn't working out. We still was arguing even the break off, but it wasn't as much, because now I had the option to hang up.
Right. You can't walk away when you're in the marital home.
Right. So because the situations was happening that way, now she was, with the time schedule that was given to me, now she was taking away my time. I was there and I was being presentable when I was actually trying to be having visitation with my kids. She was taking it away. Like, no, you're not gonna go see your kids. No, you're not seeing them this. Or she was using it as a leverage because she knew that's where a father's heart may lie. I have girls with her. So you know what they say. Girls belong to their daddy, and boys, and there's mama's boys. So, mama boy. So I had a real close relationship with my girls. And so she seen that, she know what was going on, and she used that to try to break that connection in between the kids and I.
And so tell me, how did that make you feel? I mean, you were blessed. I mean, you were in a marriage, you all had an intact family, the traditional family where the mom and dad and children, and you bonded with daddy's girls. And so now how does it make you feel? The first question is, how does it make you feel not being able to see them as much as you were able to see them?
Oh, I mean, people may not notice because of how men are, and men were naturally are supposed to be taught or are taught we're supposed to be strong. So we're
Yeah.
not to show emotions. We're not to show that we're being weak. So I know a lot of men, what they try to do is keep themselves busy or occupied. But internally, yeah, they mad. They usually try to talk to other people. And that's usually if they have other siblings, they'll talk to their sisters. Because they'll call them up like, see, that's messed up. She ain't come to show her
Mhm.
kids off. This is how they may express themselves to other people. But they don't show that to everybody because they looked at them as an image like you're supposed to be a man, be strong about it. So
Mhm.
it made me mad and I was outraged by it. And sometimes you feel like you want to do some things and it gets damaging. And how I seen that I have seen how it affected me is when working, it affected your job performance. So now you're
Mhm.
on, now you're thinking about what's going on, what's happening. I didn't get to see my kids, so now your performance ain't working well. Whether if you had a goal that you was doing in at work, you're not meeting that goal, and you
Mhm.
may not see it, but I didn't see it at first, but then you started to see a pattern, and that's just
And
really keeping track of how you've been doing at work.
how about with other relationships? Did it affect your interaction with other women, like when you enter other relationships?
In the beginning, yes, most definitely, because you started talking to them and then you started looking at other women in the side because when you're actually talking with other women and you may feel like you're interested, and some other women that you may talk to may have kids themselves. And when you see them with their children, you're like, I'm not being participated into my own child's life. How can I participate in someone else's child's life? So I seen that, and then you start talking to women who possibly did not have children. And what went on with that is you almost feel like you don't want to get involved because you have your own children. Men always wants to get their stuff together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always want to get their stuff together. Real men who sits there and wants to provide for their children is like, you don't want to have loose women around your children. You want to set a good image just in case there's a chance. And we hold on to that a lot because we're like, maybe, hopefully, I get to have my kids this week. Hopefully, I get to have my kids that week. But these are things that men have a tendency to hold in the back of their head, but has to show face a different mask when they out into the public. Like that doesn't hurt them, or they're taking it as, oh, that's all right. I know what I have to do. You start thinking revenge themes. You may start thinking plot themes. Uh,
Uh-huh.
it's gonna
All kind of stuff go to your head that I'm glad that you were able to block out and not act on those. But let me ask you this. It's the control factor because I'm known to be a control freak. Did you feel at any point anger because you felt like the mom was controlling you, that she was treating you like you were insignificant?
oh yeah. Oh man, there was a lot of the times. You know, she and she would know that this is a man's heart, you know, other than the fact that he's trying to work on life and doing what he has to do. When she kept the kids away from me, now she may do a reasonable phone call, and now you get excited because now you think that she's giving you the opportunity and a chance to see your child. um, Prime example, it was like, hey, um, you ain't get to get the kids this weekend and everything else, but it's a child's birthday. It's one of the kids' birthday.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to see them, I'm planning on doing a birthday party for them at a certain place. So this is her manipulation tactic where she's like, okay, I'm gonna get the money and I'm gonna make him pay for it in order for him to see his children. So it's
Yeah.
like little games like that. You're like, I don't
Oh
care
my.
about the money. I just want to see my children. I just understand I'm still part of your life, but you don't want to get involved to show them the toxic situations that you have with the mother. So you almost submit to anything that she says in order to stay involved in your children's life. They'll
Oh
do
wow. And so that I can imagine, the man, the strong man Oh, all of that's coming into play. You know, I'm a man. I'm not gonna let anybody handle me like this. And then this woman is dangling my hearts in front of me, and I can't have a relationship with her. How did you handle that? Tell me, how did you handle it to the degree that you didn't do what some unfortunate men do and get violent towards a woman or kidnap the children? How did you process that and handle that?
Ooh. So I guess luckily with 10 years involving with her, I also had 10 years to mature myself. What a man would have done in a younger age, yes, it would have been a whole totally situation. But as you get older, you're starting to get humble. You humble yourself more. The bones start hurting when you get a scrape.
Yeah, you can't fight like you used to.
No, sure enough, can't. So as I got older, thankfully I was in my 30s and everything else, and then you just started thinking like I started doing a paper trail, and I started to use the court system to try and get what was owed to me. So what I started doing is just started keeping track of things. You talk to attorneys, you go with the courts, and like, this is the situation that I'm having. This is the situation. This is the problem that I'm having. And when you talk to any attorney, first thing they're going to ask you is, do you have documentation?
Mhm.
To me, of what you're saying is true, because right now we're on hearsay. Why is the mother doing this? And most fathers is going to come out, I don't know. It's just the fact she just don't want me to see my children, or she doesn't want me to have the bond. So a lot of the attorneys that you may speak to may feel like you don't have enough in order for you to make a change, grant what it is. And they're not looking on the other side of what the mother is doing. We do have a court order. And with that court order, seeing them every first and third weekend and deciding you're going to let me see once a month or no month at all, it was a problem. I didn't have any direction or which route to go with it.
Did you find that, and I've heard this from some guys, so let me know if this is the case with you. When you're approaching an attorney and you're telling them that the mom is not doing this and mom's not doing that, and as an attorney, we're thinking there's a court order, so she can't be that bold to violate it. Do you find that some attorneys kind of look at you sideways and going like, what you do? What you really do? They feel like the man has done something wrong to cause the woman to do behave the way she does?
Um, I'm not gonna say that, because I think the first fight battle, when you decide to get an attorney involved, men are men. And like I said, we're gonna continuously trying to be a man, and we're gonna try to hold our emotions. A lot of the stuff that maybe a lot of attorneys gonna come off to you and be like, what took you so long? You haven't had visitation for over 6 months. Why are you trying to get an attorney now? This would show that it's working well, and now you're trying to hold a revenge status on her. Why does it take you so long? Because a lot of men holds it out, and they don't want to get the courts involved every single time. And to them, it's like, okay, it happened the first time. Maybe it's not gonna happen next time. Hopefully, she's gonna be act right. A lot of men like to hopefully think it's in the best interest of what that the mother's trying to do the right thing. She's just mad right now. She'll get over it, and we'll come back together, and maybe I'll be able to see my kids. So when I was talking to the attorney, a lot of attorneys, men probably go into it's going to be like, well, it's been going on like this for 1 year. Why do you want change now?
Right.
Why do you want to hold her accountable? And then they ask, well, you got to show me proof of all this. If this been going on for 6 months, 12 months, no matter how long it is, where's the proof? So we get
So
into
I can relate. Okay, so I can relate to the why so long. So help attorneys and women understand, if it's that bothersome to you that you're not able to get your kids, why do you wait so long? And I'm not talking about you, but some guys, they come to me, it's been 5 years since they saw the kid, and I'm going, really, bro? Really? So why? Tell me what's going on.
because men want to have an image that we're trying to be a loving father. We're trying to be a loving person. We don't want something that's trying to affect the woman to make it seem like we're being a bad guy about things. we just hope that they look at us and be like, hey, the same way I'm giving you the courtesy, I would like to be respected the same way. So I'm giving you the children, you're having the children, I'm trying to be involved in their life. Do the same due diligence and make sure I'm being involved in my children's life. Let's stay that open communication and talk about what's going on. What are we doing for our children? But at the most part, we run into the problems with, you don't tell me what to do. I don't have to listen to you. You're going to do what you want to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. And we run into that all the time. I had to look at myself and be like, look, we're getting involved with this woman. If I was good enough to lay in the bed with her, then I had to expect that maybe there's a child in that was going to conceive out of it.
Right. Absolutely. Now I'm about to go there. So let me just go there since you brought it up. Okay. So guys come to my office. She this, she that, and she didn't do this. And my first thing is like, now, how many of those traits did you see when you were dating her? Oh, I saw a little bit of it. I saw a little bit. Okay. How many of those traits did you see after the first child? And then after the second child? But you kept having babies. So my question to you is, did you see anything in her that told you that if you ever break up with her, that you may have these issues?
At first, I'm going to say no. But as you start gathering and then you're being with a person for so long and it's like, okay, and you start picking up knowledge, you start looking at things and like, okay, we're going to have a problem on our hands. So we still trying to find a peaceful resolution on a lot of the situations. Well, maybe if I was able to do this, a lot of fathers may hold themselves accountable for a lot of things just to try to get the relationship to keep going. But maybe if I did this, or maybe if I did that, then this can turn around and do better.
Yeah.
As a relationship. And all the more reasons of me, I was just over here just continually thinking, maybe if I did this, then maybe I can still be around to be there for my children, be there for my child, whether you have one or four. So it was a lot of things that I was thinking about. I was trying to submit to her willing and her bidding in order to keep the relationship with my child or children.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you moved on, you just said, okay, I've got my divorce papers and she's not complying. So let me go and start trying to enforce visitation. How was the court system? I mean, when you finally get to court and you get some relief, did that work? Did that satisfy you?
No, I think it definitely, now my court order was coming out of Georgia. I don't think it was a fair, equal trade, I can say.
Yeah.
Because they pretty much really limited my time. I was a father who was in a home continuously, waking up and seeing my kids every single day. So now you limit my time to 2 weeks out of the month. So
weekends.
Yeah.
Weekends?
Yeah, 2 weekends out of the month. It takes a lot to process through all of that. And because the person that I am, you have to stay working, and now you have child support that comes along with it. So now you're paying additional money for an extended amount of time or period amount of time, and everything is now hitting you with the hard paperwork in your hand. And we don't get time to gather our emotions or our thoughts to see what's the best way. All you're hearing is you have to just keep pushing the way that you are. But don't mess up on this, don't mess up on that. And when first time the problem had happened, she actually took me to court. Wanted to hold me in court. I was trying to do everything that I can. She didn't come and complain and say, oh, I took the kids away or I held them back. No, she came over here and say, no, he's doing this. I want more custody. And it was like, what?
Like what? I only got this much and now you want to take a little bit I got.
Yeah. And I think luckily what she what she did, she filed paperwork, and that was just phone calls. She said I had to give him some chance to go ahead and have time with his kids, and then he wouldn't allow me to speak to my kids just for the weekend that I have them. And she would come in hours of the night, calling like 11, 12 o'clock at night. It's like, you're not going to talk to them. And she used that to the courts, but changed the verbiage of it. And then I get held in contempt.
Right.
I
Like
get held.
you finally get your kids, you got this little bitty time with them. Mama want to call them at the wrong time. And then she said, you denying them phone contact.
Right.
Aggravating, huh?
It is. And the judge just looked at it. She didn't even have the hard proof as of the times that she was calling, even though I was stating mine. It was just to acknowledge, what, did you deny her from speaking to the kid? Yeah, Your Honor, but he was calling odd hours of the night or odd hours where they couldn't have been available. Well, because you admitted to it, you get hit with
You
it.
violated the court order. Well, is that your sentiments about the whole court process? Is it that you feel like it was the judges are biased in favor of the women? They always give women the benefit of the doubt, but the men have to prove up their case.
Oh, yes. Yes. I feel that completely. I haven't ran into a judge who completely wants to hear the case. Even for my past recent cases, it's just like, out of a 2-hour talk time, maybe I had 15 minutes, and then the mother had a whole hour and 45 minutes. It was like, am I gonna get some talk time into here to explain? And then when you come to explain, there's so much that was talked about. You're trying to pinpoint which one are you coming from? Which one are you explaining? And by then it's not enough time. And the judge is like, well, this is what I'm going to say, and this is what I'm going to grant, and then we're gonna move on from this. Yep. So it gets irritating because you don't want to blurt out in court because you get held in contempt, or you blurt out in court, then it's trying to prove what the mother is trying to say that you are, even though if you are not. She tries to use an argument or arguments and be like, he's an angry person. And it's like, no, people argue every day. And then when you go do something like that in court, it was like, oh, so you do have some anger issues. So, and he or she, the court that sits on the judge, raises just that particular information, other than everything that you have brought against
everything else that you said. Yes.
Like, I'm frustrated because I'm not able to see my children. I haven't seen my children in 6 months, and now I'm here and we're just listening to what she's saying. Like, hey, what's going on? I need to see my children. I want something. This could be in and out. Can you put it in place? Like, hey, someone's going to get in trouble if they keep refusing or they keep not going by the court order. So, yeah.
So how do, and I'm a woman, so I process things from a feminine and a woman standpoint. And so I can only learn about men by having these seminars, by talking to people. I'm blessed that I get majority of my family law clients are men, so I get to hear you all standpoint a lot, but not the people who are going to be listening to this interview. They don't get to hear the things that I hear, which is the reason I'm doing it. So I'm trying to understand, how do you maintain, we're just either not going crazy, snapping, when you fought in your divorce cases, you try to do the right thing by not rushing to court. Now you're in court, the judge doesn't listen to you. You can't get the relief that you want. Why don't you just walk away and just say, the hell with it? Just the hell with it. I'll see my kids when they grow. Why not?
Well, there's probably a two-part answer. If you know the mother, let's say, because every case is not the same. Well, some mothers may not be that bad. They're just using the children, but she can be raising the children right. And she may have some form of morals and values that she wants to bestow inside the children, but some fathers, when they know that the mother's not doing right, or they know, in particular, let's say, just going into my case a little bit, the children may be better off just in my care. you know, because you know the improvements that you want, and that's what you want the kids to do better, to have a better image in society, that of keep them in the place that they were. So I want to say, how can I say it? I want to say just in, it depends on a parent. It depends on a parent which route that you want to take with it. You have to know the person that you make kids with, because every man is gonna go out there. She ain't no good parent, and that don't unnecessarily has to be true.
Right.
She's taking the anger and alienating the children from you because whatever X, Y, and Z reason. You hurt her, she wanted a relationship, and you hurt her, and as she's gonna use that on her. That doesn't make her a bad parent automatically.
Right.
Alienating is one thing, but being able to understand if she's going to raise the children right is another totally different thing. And I think sometimes into the court system, they try to blend them two together, because they come and they preach like this is the best interest of the kids. Well, if it's the best interest of the kids, if the kids are in a toxic home or a toxic situation, and you know the father is doing outstandingly good and he's doing good for himself, why not take the kids and put them in a better home?
Yeah.
But they don't.
And I think, and I agree with you on that, because there seems to be, you know, having done this for a long period of time, there seems to be this struggle with removing the children from the mom's care, despite how toxic it is, you know, it comes out in the cases that it's toxic, but the judges are more hesitant to do it because they're saying, well, the kids may buck the system, or the kids, they're used to this. So leave them in a toxic environment because it's something they're used to, as opposed to putting them in an environment that you know is a better environment for them and forcing them to get used to this better environment. Is that something that's baffling to you as well? Because because I know that in your case, I know that your environment is a better environment, but yet and still all of your kids are not there because of concerns about what's going to happen if you remove them from this toxic environment they're in and put them over here. How do you reconcile that?
And that purely shows of what you're saying, how you're not looking at the best interest of the kids. You're looking at what mother wants. Because if it's to be noticed that and you see that, why are you still not looking at the best interest of the kids? We look at things in face value from whatever it is. You know, when fighting my cases, I didn't come to the court and be like, this is what she's doing wrong. This is what she has been happening. I kind of use the cases as, no, I'm going to use her words against her. So you're telling me this, we're going to have it on paperwork. So you can't do nothing but acknowledge of what you have done wrong. And because of that, I think that gave it a bit more leverage into the court system. Fathers mostly don't want to sit there and just keep battling the court every single time, because they get depressed, or they get whatever feeling and feel like the court system is not on their side. They're not fighting enough for the fathers to be involved in the child's life. And just the gist of how men are, they want to have more of a tendency to use whatever past that they have, even though if they're doing good now, into the court cases. Even though if you didn't have any past background, they just feel like the mother has to be more nurturing and has to be able to grow with the kids. So a father who keeps fighting, they're not just going to step back and be like, no, I'm gonna give it up. I'm gonna throw my hands up. My kids know who I am, and they'll come back later. In my case, or my situation, because of the toxic environment that kids are, when the kids do get grown and they decide that they're gonna come to the father, you're basically telling the father, all right, now they done screwed up their lives. We need you to fix this. They are grown.
They're grown right now. It's like, what can I do now?
Now you want to give me some type of rights or something like that? Like that doesn't make any sense. And even though if they do that and decide they're going to do that late in their years of their age, let's say at the age of 17, what has happened in the past? Like, why do you feel like I can fix this child now? And you want to tell me, hey, this child needs saving. They need the father. They needed a father throughout all these years of their life, but you're not using your power to make sure that happens. You're limiting it still of keeping it, and then you're just giving little slaps on the wrist on the mother and be like, oh, we're gonna find you a little thing, or we're gonna do this. That doesn't phase the mother. She breaks the bond in between the mother. It breaks the bond between the father and the child.
Yeah.
So even for my son, is like I got him. I finally won over him to stay with me, but it was a long battle. It was a good 4 years. Seemed like 4 year battle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so it's like you fight, 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 because your ultimate goal was to get all 4 children with you, but
Right.
you ended up with just the son with you and the 3 girls with the mom, right?
Yeah, and
And so, and you're forced to be just content with that. It's like, okay, well, you get a consolation prize. You didn't get what you asked for, but here's a little gift for you.
yeah.
But so how does it make you feel knowing that your son is gonna be, because I know you and your wife, and I know you all do a lot of stuff with your kids. You're very involved. And though you have a house full, you are very involved. You don't just let them play and hang out. You all travel together. You all do a lot of stuff together. So does it make you feel uncomfortable knowing that you're going to be able to give this wonderful opportunity to your son, but not to your daughters?
Yes. Yeah, at least I get a little bit of relief. It's still a battle because you want to see all your kids be successful, and you want to give them a different opportunity that you did not have. I'm not a person who's out there doing all negative things out there in the streets. I generally show my kids who I am now. Everybody has a past. Every father has a different past. And when you talk to them, you see where they're coming from, whether it was someone who was roaming the streets and as they get older, they change their life. But in the image of your kids, they only see what you are now. So my kids only see that I am a working parent. I am a hard worker. I make my money, and we actually were blessed. And now I'm in a marriage, and we're married. Now he sees two-person home. So now he has a different avenue of life about different things. So now because he's younger now, he has time to mold and change some of the decisions that he may make that he's going to take on through life. Um, Me being absent from there, he's pretty much fending, and it's difficult in my situation because there's 3 girls and there's 1 boy. So the mother gave more attention to the girls than it did to the boy. So he's fend for himself to go look out after other people. That's whether he's seeing it from his friends or whether he's seeing it from the street. So he picked that up, and just saying, I didn't have a daddy. My daddy is not involved in my life. He's looking at everything else as his daddy. So
Mhm.
now he's seeing me, and he's knowing that I've been there, and he's involved now. He changed certain ways of it. And I can't say he's changed because he just recently became
Right. Yeah.
permanently in my care, but just for the temporary that he has been here for the past few months,
Yeah.
his grades has drastically changed. His attitude has changed. We're still working through some hurdles and hiccups through a lot of it, but he's able to pick that up and see the difference from where he was and where he's at now. He may do some comments and be like, this guy, he steals. I don't know. He just don't learn his lesson on why he steals. And I coach him. I coach him and then tell him life lessons. Like, well, when there was a situation with you, how did you feel? Now you see that someone else does it wrong. You see it doesn't make no sense. Would you like to be someone who gets tucked away in life and get dismissed because you're this type of child and everybody looks at you wrong because they see that you're a thief? They see that you're a thief. Do you that it's okay for everyone to look at you as a thief? You just said this guy or your friend of yours, he just continuously lessening. He's not learning. He's continually stealing, and he's not learning his lesson. Like, what do you think would expect? Now you have a target on your back because nobody wants to deal with you.
Right.
Nobody involved you in anything because they only have one thing in your mind is that you're a thief. You're a
Right.
thief. You don't want
Mhm.
to go to family's house sometimes because, like, I don't want him here. He's gonna steal. I don't want him here. Like, do you see what you may
Mhm.
have done for yourself and why people would not want to deal with you? So he's able to be coachable, and he had to sit there and have a moment. But how do you do that if you get a child when they're a lot older? This
Right.
is something that you
Right.
have to be able to talk with your children when they're younger and teach them about life, the rights, the wrongs, and everything else. Now, because I'm older, I can do that. If I was in my 20s and everything else, you're probably more forgiving because you feel like you have the infinity stone and you have an eternal life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You're untouchable. So me as an adult, you try to cater to some of the younger men who have children and like, hey, you got to be patient. It's going to be hard and it's going to be stack up against you. You have to be able to see what are you trying to do. Why do you want the kids to stay with you? Why do
Mhm.
you feel like it's better?
Mhm.
But
So what I want to, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to ask you. So I appreciate everything I've known and come to love about you and your wife. So, and when I talked about this seminar, I'm like, I've handpicked the best guys. They've had struggles, but they endured. So, what would you say to those guys out there? And I have a couple of them that's wanting to just give up, just like, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to. I want to deal with lawyers. I want to deal with attorney's fees. I don't want to deal with the judge. I'm just going to walk away. What do you say to those guys?
me personally, if you love your kids enough, I would say you have to keep fighting. The kids may not see you for the time being that you're fighting, but you have to keep fighting just to keep getting involved. The way that you possibly would have to do it, you're gonna have to do it through the courts. And I'm sorry to say, for the first few times bringing her into court, I had to do it myself. I had to fight a lot of the cases myself. I can't afford an attorney. I had to plead my case before the judge by myself. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of homework. It's a lot of things that you got to look into. But I was looking at the greater goal of it, and that's to make sure I maintain a relationship with my children. So my thing is, if you're going to fight, don't give it up. You
Yeah.
can only mold them one time, and that's when they're younger, not when they're older. Don't give up. Keep staying involved in your children's life. Keep encouraging them. Keep talking to them. Keep making the phone calls that you have to do, that you want to do. Find a way to get in contact. I don't care. It's these teenagers or these youth right now. They have in Twitters and Facebook. Hey, send them encouraging messages. Happy birthday. How you doing? Hey, even if it's once a week or twice a week, however way that you get in contact with them, stay in contact with them.
Yeah.
They'll see the message, and eventually something is gonna click in their head of like, my daddy did try to stay involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
My daddy was here, and he really did try to do something. I have messages from every 2 weeks. He send me a hello, and I just didn't. I
Yeah.
just respond back, and then eventually it'll come up like, I need to change something about myself. Let me get
Look, let me text my daddy back so he can stop texting me so much.
right. And it's not even that, even because when they start getting 16, 17, 17 or going into 18, they start realizing like, oh man, I probably have treated my dad bad in some way, shape, or form. Let me see what's
Mhm.
going on with him. Let me ask him. Let me see hey, dad, what are you doing? I have a question. And I think that's one of the greatest things that's just gonna come over your heart that she finally or he finally gonna come to you and ask you a question like, there's this guy I like, or I'm going to prom. You don't
Oh
want to hear
yeah.
this in case just because they want you involved in that little moment. It almost seems like all the other years just disappears.
Yeah. She'd be like, dog, why she had to come to me with this boy question? Okay, I'm gonna handle it right. I'm gonna handle it right. I'm not gonna mess this up because then if I say the wrong thing, she's not gonna come again.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, what you're looking at is the fact that because of those little messages that you have sent to her, or the fact that you try to get in contact with her, or send, if you can, send her letters through the mail, just a gift card. Hey, something special. I hope you're having a good weekend or something like that. Some of those things, they're going to see that, and they obviously, they may get it late, they may get it early, but they're going to see that you are a father who are still consistent trying to be involved. So I wouldn't say give up. Do not give up in no point of chance. After they reach the age of 18, it's off their game. You know, they make their own decision. Now, I still wouldn't give up after the age of 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're an adult child to me.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I'm so blessed that not only did you not give up, but you allowed me to be a part of the fight. And I'm glad that, even though we just got a consolation prize, it's been a blessing to just be a part of your journey. So thank you so much for involving me in that journey. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. And make sure to tell Jasmine and the kids that I said hello.
I surely will.
All right. You have a good day.
You too.